TWM Podcast.
Hello and welcome to TWM Talks. I am Matty Deller and we're bringing you one of our pay-per-view reviews, but it is a double header and a bit of a different one this time around, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. This is a TWM podcast bringing you news, reviews and interviews from all corners of the wrestling world 6 days a week, available on the Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Acast, TuneIn, Podbean, YouTube and wherever else you get your pods. If you're in the market for wrestling swag, and who isn't, let's be honest, squaredcirclebox.com is where you need to go. And if that's not enough, TWM News, use that in the little code section gimmick and get 10% off your first order. That's TWM News at squaredcirclebox.com. I said this was an interesting and a different pay-per-view review this week because we are reviewing two very different shows side by side. NXT UK returned to its spiritual home for NXT Takeover, or NXT UK Takeover rather, Blackpool 2, and Impact shows that it is hard to kill out of the Bomb Factory in Dallas, Texas. Two different shows, two different momentous main events, but which one was the better show? We're going to discuss that amongst many, many other things. It's not just me here. Joining me as we deep dive into the world of NXT and Impact is the host of Raw Talk, the sometimes host of Smack Talk, and good goddamn handsome man. It is Joseph.
What?
You alright, Joe?
Yeah.
that sounded positive.
A very, very positive intro for me. Have you just missed me? We've not done a podcast together in how long?
I know, it's been a while, just me and you, yeah.
Yeah, because this is basically a podcast of two big dogs now, isn't it?
Yeah, we're just what's it, big league and everyone. This is basically the mega powers, but less racist.
Did you just say we're big leaguing everyone? do I get to offer handshakes like Randy Orton used to?
No, and I really hope you've got hand sanitizer on you right now as we speak, just in case. You never know who's going to walk into the room. But enough chatting about proverbial handshakes. I was about to say enough talking about potential racism, but we've got to talk about Impact later on, so that's probably going to come up. Let's start off with NXT UK Takeover Blackpool Dose. Takeover Blackpool 2, and I believe we say this every time they go to the Empress Ballroom in Blackpool. It's such a nice venue.
It's pretty in there.
It's
just about the rest of Blackpool, but it's pretty in there.
Yeah, no, it's nice in there. The rest of Blackpool is fine for a few days. I've spent a week there before. That's enough. You can't leave Blackpool. It's impossible. Because I will say this: the worst from Blackpool is the trains are shite.
Tribute act to Hotel California I've ever seen.
It really is. Yeah, because you can't leave, not because because of any spiritual reason. It's literally because of the fact that the trains barely run, and they're not even trains; they're buses. They've converted into trains. I'm not even making that up, international listeners. That is the state of trains in the north. Yeah, the trains that go to Blackpool, they're converted buses. This is an unequivocal fact. I found this out from a friend of mine. Let's start off with the opening video package. Cheeky bit of Pete Dunne in there. It's a nice little video package detailing all the stuff at TakeOver. And we go straight in, no messing, with Eddie Dennis over Trent Seven in a pretty good match. A solid way to open the show, I'd say, Joe, even though I know you have your, of course, Eddie Dennis bias.
Oh, it's not Eddie Dennis bias.
Well, you know what I mean. You're biased against him. It's still bias related to Eddie Dennis.
Look, it's NXT UK Takeover, right?
Yeah.
You've got to start the show off right. And there's only one way to start a show off right at an NXT UK Takeover. And that's you bring out Trent Seven. He's got like the big driving theme. Everyone loves him. He'll work a crowd. He cheers. He'll put on an absolute banger and he'll lose.
Well, you're not wrong. I will say though,
every single time.
I will say, Trent Seven, lovely coat.
That coat was astounding.
Yeah. Also, Eddie's dragon mask was lovely. I can't remember what I said in the group chat. What did I say?
No, yeah, he's the Dragon of Wales.
Oh yeah, the Dragon of Wales. Wales. WWE Network Twitter and WWE and NXT UK Twitter actually as well. Dragon of Wales. I did put out a Twitter vote on my personal Twitter at MattyID of whether everyone thought Eddie Dace was a dragon or a whale. Dragon won out narrowly. I think it was like 58-42.
I didn't vote because you didn't put the third option, which only I would have voted for.
Yeah, which is
cunt.
I was trying to think of like adversary, like the word there, but you dropped the C-bomb immediately. Dennis tried to.
I've had a bad day. I'm not mincing.
So fair. We both spent off pod complaining how crap we both feel, to be honest. So this is somewhat cathartic. Dennis tried to jump Trent Seven, but got caught with a big power bomb and a DDT. Then Dennis hit a big jackknife razor's edge to take over. Back and forth. They got the Snapdragon. He missed a twisting senton. Eddie hitting a spinning sidewalk slam. We get a big Emerald Frozen, but then Eddie loosened the turnbuckle pad, but gets caught with a superplex for the near fall. Seven accidentally hits the buckle. Eddie goes for the Seven bridge onto the exposed buckle, where the ref stops it, and he goes, alright then, fuck it, I'm going full Mike Awesome, and Trent Seven gets Seven bridge over the top rope onto an unsuspecting human for a near fall, and then Eddie hits the next stop driver for the win. We all thought Eddie was going to win, but my god, did that not scare the crap out of everyone when Eddie decided to go, I'm just going to throw Trent Seven to the outside instead.
This charismatic old man empty yeet.
It really was that. Yeah, it was a pretty good opener. We go straight into the NXT UK Women's Championship match. Kaylee Ray over Piper Niven and Toni Storm in a triple threat match. Very high octane. Some great storytelling in this match.
Favorite match. It would have been my favorite match if stuff hadn't happened. This would have been everyone's favourite match until a big strong boy and a giant head turned up. But there was some great storytelling in this. I like this. They had big moves between it. A lot of it was basically them working over Kaylee Ray dividing and conquer. They were getting 100 miles an hour, which was great. I did like Kaylee Ray really hammered home that she's the heel. She tried to like do the chair neck on Toni, but then Piper made the save, and we get. I will say this: we rag on WWE, NXT UK for a lot, but they do know how to frame stuff perfectly. Like the frame of Toni having the chair and Piper going, hit me with the chair now, and you just see Kaylee Ray standing there grinning. Yeah, like Palpatine. Yes. Strike her down. It will only make me stronger.
Do it. I'll try to do it with Scott. Do it. We need MacIver.
Do it. It's like, sidebar. Did one of the commentators call her the Scottish Sabu?
Yeah, they did. They did call her the Scottish Sabu because she's a daredevil. So it's poor, but it does make some sense. The thing is, like, I'll go my head down, and we kept saying, do it with Kaylee Ray. Kaylee Ray being the Scottish Palpatine. All of them I got ahead is her just staring at both of them, just going, it was fucking one idiot. Which one of you's going to hit the other one with a chair? Disgusting. They both bar her. Then Kaylee Ray just goes, "Whoa, this match empty." Yeet herself onto both ladies. She catches a leg on the barrier. That could have gone horribly wrong. We get a pair of power bombs and a Piper driver for a near fall. Toni goes for the Storm Zero, but then just goes, nah, screw it, pedigree. There's a frog splash, but then literally the finish we all expected to happen. Kaylee Ray just drops Toni with a super kick and then sneaks the win. This was a fantastic match, and I agree with you, Joe. It would have been the best match of the night if the next match didn't happen.
Yeah. Like it did seem to get crazier and crazier as time went on, didn't it? Up until a point.
Yeah, it just kind of built nice, and then you had the moment to breathe, which was a storyline moment, and then it kept ramping up, and
I'm talking about in general, but yes, the match too. Yes.
Because I felt like we'll talk about it towards the end about the pacing of this show. It did pace quite nicely. I will give them that as well. It's a shame though, the two women's title matches we're going to discuss literally had the same finish. So, oh well. Tyler Bate over Jordan Devlin. Do
we have to talk about this? Can we not just say this match slapped, go watch it, and then move on? Because I don't feel like, and Matty, you know me, so you know, like, you know that. I mean, I don't think words can do this justice.
No, I don't think it can, because I did the results for this, and the final line I put is, I don't think WWE are going to be able to top this match all year.
Yeah, you said this is. I don't think anyone's going to top this match all year, and I just typed back to you: stairs in Hiromu.
Yeah, and I got. Like Hiromu's, I'm worried Hiromu's going to see this and go, well, I'm going to have to land on my head again. But this was like, I'm not going to go into every bit because everyone needs to see this. I'm going to like some little bits. You always talk about how much you love Jordan Devlin's Spanish Fly, and I believe we spoke about this with formerly of this parish Josh Bannister, where we said it's a ridiculous move, but Jordan Devlin makes it look the most realistic.
I mean, Will Ospreay obviously is an incredible athlete, but he doesn't have that believability.
Yeah.
Yeah, like half of the stuff that Will Ospreay doesn't look real anyway, so you know what, whatever. But like, I like Jordan Devlin the best because it is a ridiculous move, but he makes it look like he's really straining to use their momentum against them, and he drops them like it's a DDT.
And thing is that we got one of my other favourite moves of Mr. Devlin, which we don't see a lot, which was the Arabian Press moonsault.
Oh yes,
which is such a move that can look awful. See Christopher Daniels messing up against Pentagon a few weeks ago on AEW for further information.
I believe they turned that into an ankle.
They did. Fair play to them for that as well. But they, if you hit it right, it is a thing of beauty. And Jordan doing it was a thing of beauty. The other bit I want to talk about, and this is nuanced, no wasted motion, stuff like this, which is just tremendous to see. They have a sequence of headbutts and flipping out of stuff, and it ends with a big Spanish Fly. And my favourite part of this is they both start to sit up, and Devlin headbutts Tyler Bate as he sits up, so they're both back down again. And it's just, go and watch this match.
There's a point where Tyler Bate headbutts Jordan Devlin, and I'm like, he's going to lose this match. No one headbutts the Irish Ace.
Yeah, and it all built, like I said, this built up nicely, and first of all, finishing this match, because I can tell, this is completely honest with everyone, I've just realised that I did not finish writing notes for this match. Clearly, I sat down and just started watching the match and forgot to write them notes of the end of it. I think Tyler won with the Tyler driver, it would make sense.
No, didn't he win with the... No, didn't he win with the spiral tap?
He might have been the spiral tap. Oh, no, it was. Yes, you're right, because you know why? Yeah. He finished it.
Okay, fine. Let me go through the finishing sequence, because clearly you forgot. He hit the 720 satellite DDT.
And then he hit the spiral tap, and I want to say he finished it. Because the thing is, I think I popped because he hit my two favourite moves in a row.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just...
Yeah.
Tremendous. Go and watch this match. Go and watch it. Then you sit there and go, bloody hell, how are they going to top this? Well, then we have a ladder match. A ladder match between Gallus, Imperium, GYV, and South Wales Subculture. It's hard to top because you're in a difficult situation pacing a wrestling show, I would imagine, just from a fan standpoint. If you've got a big car crash match or a big gimmick match, probably the last thing you want is an absolute clinic beforehand, because it's going to have worn the fans out. But
what I will say is, pace wrestling cards that I've seen, and remember, I'm a relatively recent fan.
Yeah,
I've been NXT, pure NXT, because they showcase generally after Sasha and Bailey smashed that glass ceiling for like every kind of, like, they generally showcase their biggest story in their main event. It doesn't matter if they're men, it doesn't matter if they're women, it doesn't matter if it's a tag team. They generally showcase their biggest story in their main event. So, the main event.
yeah. It's like my point, like, with this was, like, if you want a gimmick match, this is probably the perfect gimmick match to have after a clinic like that. Because
I believe that this should have been the main event.
Oh no, it should have been. However, I will say this. I'll get to it in a minute. My line for the main event was it was a lot better than it had any right to be, and I feel like they did well with what they had left, which was a knackered crowd. However,
not taking anything away from the main event that they gave us. I'm just saying
this was the storyline. This was the story of NXT UK that everyone was invested in. But possibly the women's match could have made a play for it as well.
Yeah,
but it's a car crash of the highest order. You have Drake gets the double basement drop kick with two chairs in his face at the top. Flash does a rude boy off a ladder, gets a the ladder drop kicked into his gut. We get loads of my favourite thing, which I've seen so many times, and I've talked about how Fabian-Nyinah is so underrated. He's going to be such a big deal. That double jump moonsault onto the ladder.
Yeah, that was mad. Just crazy. Didn't GYV try and bugger Mark Andrews with a ladder?
Probably at one point. I know they like.
It led to the kendo stick spot.
That's towards the end. That's right at the end of the match. We have the kendo stick. Kendo stick.
Yeah, I know. That's the psychology behind him going mental on both of them. They tried to bugger him with a ladder.
This is a horrible image. Me and Carl spoke about spots we thought we were going to see on this show, and legitimately, two of them both happened. I turned around and said, we're going to get the... Kyle said we're going to get the shooting star press off a ladder. We got that, and then I turned around and said we're going to get the Justin Gabriel 450 off a ladder bridge, and we got both. James Drake's 450 could be one of the prettiest 450s in wrestling.
And you said he was a coward.
Wasn't a 630, that's why. A minute ago, Tyler Bate did a 720. He's like the least cowardly person on the planet.
Yeah, he's Mr. Mayhem.
So then we get Drake goes to the belts, and we get Imperium dropping with the European bomb. We get a big ladder and double tables, but I want to big this up. Mark Andrews, who probably got PTSD from tables now, and Flash Morgan Webster with proof that they are professionals of the highest order.
Yeah.
Because so many wrestlers in any walk of life, they set up the double tables. They were going to do the double swanton on opposite sides through tables. One of the tables collapses. So many wrestlers would have shat themselves at that moment. Immediately, Mark's in his ear going, we're both going to do the swanton off the other side. And it worked perfectly. And if you didn't see the table collapse, you would have not assumed that there was any sort of fuck up or botch there whatsoever. So I want to give mad props to South Wales Subculture for that brilliant bit of improv.
Ring generals.
Yes. If I knew the Welsh for general, I would say it. So yeah, Mandrews then fucks GYV shit up with a kendo stick, and he gets down to Imperium and Gallus. The ladder moves, so Fabian-Nyinah has to take a spear through a ladder side on, which looks awful. And then I'm sitting there going, why is Mark constantly hopping on the ladder, like over to one side? Oh, this is why. Mark Coffey's going to push him and yeet him onto everyone. Gallus gets the belts. Superb gimmick match. Like, we knew it was going to be good, and it, for me, somehow surpassed expectations as well. like, well done to all that people.
It did. I'm very surprised with what they went with. Unless, because I thought if there was ever a time to put the belts on Imperium, it was now. That said, thinking about it, their entire thing is that the ring is sacred. And I guess their angle going forward is going to be, we could beat you in a wrestling match.
Imperium beating Gallus for the belts in a wrestling match. Gallus winning a wild brawl makes perfect sense. Like, it does make perfect sense.
Yeah.
We get to the NXT UK title, and I think we joked about this several times on several podcasts, that I was like, well, I'm just going to turn the TV off when it gets to this match, because I don't care. I do not care about this match. However, I will
shout out to Dei.
Oh yes, we talk about this, don't we? Thank you for reminding me.
We're not jumping into that straight away. What I want to shout out today is him guaranteeing that the main event of NXT UK Blackpool 2 would not be Joe Coffey versus Volta.
Cut to friend of ours, Nathan, getting the screenshot and telling everyone to tweet Dei with the screenshot, which we all did.
I didn't tweet Dei. I just tweeted out a picture of the screenshot with... No, I quoted someone else who put the screenshot up and just put... plans change.
It's so funny. And then on top of that as well, Dei went with his other podcast friends. I wish I could remember the name of the podcast off the top of my head. It's Liam and Dei's podcast about NXT UK. It's really good. Like, check it out.
Developmental podcast.
Pardon?
Developmental podcast.
I think it's like something development. Like, it's on Dei's Twitter. Go at Dei Owen and at Liam A. Stewart. Check them both out. They bought Dei a gift for NXT Takeover Blackpool
for his birthday.
Oh, it's your birthday as well, of course. Yeah. Which was a lovely cap, a lovely black baseball cap, which said "Horny for Gallus" on the front.
Oh yes.
Oh, I love this day. Which just generally it's you're gonna see it. It'll be on the podcast post. It's just very, very, very funny. But yeah, like, Joe Coffey and Volta was so much better than I thought it would be.
I thought it would be about this good, you know. I feel like people are really down on Joe Coffey for no good reason.
He's not a main eventer, though. That's the only issue I have. He is not a main eventer.
He's been 2 Blackpool Pro pay-per-views in a row, you know.
I know, but that doesn't make him a main event. That means he's been put in the main event. Like, I know it sounds trivial. It sounds trivial, but, like, just because he's been in 2 Takeover main events doesn't mean he's a main event caliber wrestler. He's not. He's an upper mid card. For an NXT UK at least, he's not. Like, for a WWE brand, Joe Coffey should not be main eventing. ICW, yeah, sure, I believe him as a main eventer there, because he is a big fish in a medium-sized pond, whereas right now he is a medium-sized fish in a massive pond, and he is not on the level of the Voltas, the Tyler Bates, the the Pete Dunnes of this world.
Dragon.
I've always said that I'm starting to warm to Ilya Dragunov now. I'm now starting to see why people likes him so much, because he's now got a body of work that I've seen, and I've not got everyone pointing me towards fucking WXW to say how good he is.
It's fine.
However, this should have been Volta Ilya Dragunov in the main event. Bottom line, I feel it was. However, Joe Coffey and Volta played the story, which was Volta doesn't like being hit. Volta wants
being hit. Volta doesn't like his fingers being snapped. Does Volta actually like wrestling?
No, Volta likes hurting people. Volta does not like being hurt. Basically, he's the stereotypical mate that can dish it out but can't take it.
So he's Patrick Vieira.
Yes, he is. What a perfect analogy for Volta. Volta is the Patrick Vieira of pro wrestling. I don't know how good his passing is, though. In all fairness, I'm about to say he's German. He's Austrian, so still, he's been working in Germany for a number of years. I imagine his football is very functional. So Coffey outquicks Volta to open and outpowers him with a big suplex and a big boot to the outside in a lovely callback to last year where Joe Coffey boots Volta to the outside, but the roles reversed the year before. Coffey's throwing rounds, and Volta no like it. Coffey then does hit a big vertical suplex for a near fall. Then Volta gets in the chops and takes control, and he just batters him with big chops and forearms. Gets an STF and a crossface, but Joe gets the ropes. Big blow for blow. Huge moonsault from Joe Coffey for a near fall. Volta went for the John Woo and ended up killing the ref with it. Desmond Wolf, Alexander Wolf interfered. Ilya Dragunov made the save, but his Torpedo Moscow clipped Coffey's knee, so now Coffey's injured against Volta. Volta boot, apron powerbomb, but the lariat only gets 2 from the new ref. We get a top rope belly to belly from Joe Coffey for a double down. Coffey hits all the best of the bells for a near fall, goes for another one, but his knee gave out. We get a big sleeper suplex and a pair of power bombs and a bully choke for the referee stoppage. They went, rather than going with the slow, methodical pace, they decided to go toe to toe, big fight, boxing, hospital, and it worked.
It did. Like that. Can we go back a bit? That ref bump.
Oh yeah, poor Chris Sharp. He got absolutely walloped with that John Woo.
Gonna read out a tweet from somebody that we both admire, which when I saw, I found it immediately. This tweet is from Man Like Darius.
I was about to say, is it from Darius?
Yeah, I love Chris Sharp, but man got absolutely clarted.
That is the best way to describe it. He got full on clarted.
He got clarted here.
Oh, that is like, I'm imagining him, Chris Sharp in the trainer's room, and he's like, "What happened?" He goes, "I got drop kicked by Volta really hard in the chest." And he looks at his board and he goes, "I see you've been clarted then." I see absolute clarted.
Absolutely. No, and I've got more to say following on from this, because obviously ref bump led to all the interference. Out comes Alexander. Imagine if it was Desmond Wolf.
just
waving.
Yeah,
waving.
Just Nigel comes in, puts shades on, and pretends he's from TNA.
But no, Alexander Wolf comes out, and then Ilya Dragunov comes out, and that makes perfect sense because everyone knows that Ilya Dragunov is the 4th member of the Gallus Boys. But the injury, that does suggest something, doesn't it? Really obvious if you think about it.
It suggests. I was going to say it's going to suggest that they're going to switch Gallus back heel.
They're going to feel like Joe's going to feel that Ilya cost him his championship.
Yeah, and they've said that ages. They went. Ilya fought with us for one night. He has nothing to do with us. So they're all going to batter Ilya in the next month of tapings, and they're going to switch them back, which will be really confusing because it means they literally switched Joe Coffey face for literally 2 months for a main event match that he was going to lose, and then switched him back heel again. To be fair, they've done that with Kevin Owens before, but still.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's everything. Like, best possible match that these two could have in the main event.
They went Joe Coffey's pace rather than Volta's pace, and it worked.
Yes, and yeah, and I feel like they told the story of Volta not really being able to throw around an opponent for the first time in NXT UK rather well too.
Yeah,
everybody in NXT is a midget.
So then, just as the show is set to end, we have Imperium celebrating. We hear very loud screaming and cheering from the crowd. Most people assume that Tommaso Ciampa was turning up, but he decided basically it was a massive smoke screen because the Undisputed Era turn up. And my highlight was someone going, "How fitting is it? How much does it sum up NXT that the biggest pop of the night were for the heel invading Americans to attack the NXT UK team?" Which does sum up an awful lot.
Firstly, they're European, and Brexit brings Brexit. All right. Secondly,
that doesn't make sense because they are our American cousins, rather than the European scum.
Yes. Secondly, how does Joe Coffey feel? Like, that's 2 Blackpool pay-per-views in a row where somebody's done a run-in after he's lost and everyone's forgotten he exists.
Literally. He's like, well, this time at least I didn't get kicked in the face. Volta did instead. So, Yeah, so it ended with Undisputed Era, and they went full hill because we didn't get any Adam Cole baby. They were all going, oh, I was like, I'm not doing it. Like, I'm here to do a run-in. I'm not here to amuse you. All in all, good show. Like, Joe, before we go on to the next thing, final thoughts and your overall grade for NXT UK?
This was a B. B plus because I'm like that match in the middle is incredible. The fact that I was able to watch a pay-per-view of this quality at a decent time is incredible.
Yeah, I'm like,
why I'm not giving it an A, but it doesn't feel like an A. It felt like something was missing.
Yeah, you know what it was? It was one of those things. I think Trent and Eddie was a good opener. The three-way women's match was really good. Then we had two fantastic matches, and then we ended with a good match. So we started and ended, rather than having good matches in the middle and have an amazing opening and closer, which sometimes does bump it up to like a B plus A minus. We had three really good matches, three fantastic matches in the middle, bookended by two good matches.
Thing of a pay-per-view is everything.
Yeah. It kind of paced nicely, but then kind of rolled into the end with a big butt spike at the end. So I give it a comfortable B. I do agree with you. It's like everything to me points this should be an A plus, like an A grade pay-per-view. However, I can't give it because there's not that thing that makes me go, yes, this
that's
is
a B plus. Eddie Dennis won.
That's it. Eddie Dennis won to refuse to give it a B plus. I'm giving it a B. Just even with a Phoenix 720 DDT and a spiral tap in a match, I'm giving it. It's a very solid B. Let's see how Impact fared with Hard to Kill. This podcast, and indeed all TWM podcasts, are brought to you by SquaredCircleBox.com, the only place for your monthly wrestling box needs. With things from superstars from WWE, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, British Wrestling, Independent Wrestling, and loads more, it is the only place that matters if you want to get the best wrestling swag for a low, low price. That low, low price is just £25, people. What a bargain! And you can get snapbacks, t-shirts, magazines, DVDs, trinkets, whatchamacallit, doodads, you name it, they have it each and every month. And just because you listen to TWM, you sexy people, you get 10% off your first order. All you got to do is use the code TWM News in the checkout. Just use the code TWM News in the checkout for 10% off your first order at SquaredCircleBox.com.
Why not spread? I said, why not spread the gospel of the TWM squad with some of our lovely merch over at Teespring? We have t-shirts for all shapes and sizes, hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, stickers, and loads more. Also, just for listening to this podcast, you can get 10% off your order. I said using the code podcast. That's podcast. Once again, podcast in the checkout for 10% off at teespring.com/stores/TWM-wrestling-merch. That's right. Praise. Testify.
Hard to Kill, the Bomb Factory in Dallas, Texas, and the second pay-per-view in a row from Impact, Joe, where you are watching it and you have to watch a Ken Shamrock match.
Sake.
Ken Shamrock over Madman Fulton opened the show. One thing I will say, we spoke about pacing, I'm going to say this at the front, this show was going at 100 miles an hour, almost as if they were running low on time. Just, I don't know what happened. They seem to continue to be cutting really quickly all the time.
Like, they weren't letting anything breathe.
No, even the end, they'd like immediately cut away to the end because they run out of time. It was nothing.
Why would they cut away from Tessa Blanchard in this climate?
I know. What has she done wrong? Ken Shamrock over Madman Fulton. This was okay.
Madman Fulton, one of the wrestlers in Shoot Nation.
He was one of the guys in. He was the guy that Killian Dane replaced in Sanity.
That, but there was an ill-fated NXT gimmick called Shoot Nation.
Oh no, you bring up all the time because it was like the what's the word I'm thinking of? The embryotic days of Angelo Dawkins.
Yes, he was. Sawyer Fulton was part of the Shoot Nation. So the commentator saying that he was Madman Fulton was an All-American isn't bullshit.
As you play an advert because you looked up Shoot Nation.
Sorry, everybody. But yeah, like fronted by Chad Gable as their mouthpiece, just all of the people with all American amateur wrestling backgrounds in NXT just shoved into a stable, and then I think I think Jason Jordan got injured again or something. Oh no, what happened?
Oh no. So basically you had Shamrock trying to tie up Fulton to open. Fulton escapes to the floor, but then Shamrock dives on him. The Chris get involved, they get ejected. Fulton then works over and chokes Shamrock until he locks in a Kimura and pops Fulton's shoulder. For the longest time, it generally looked like they actually had popped his shoulder. They must have just zoomed in at the right angle, so it looked like it popped out of his socket, and then going like, I started going.
Maybe he's one of those guys who can do it at will.
I hope not, because that made me feel ill. It's like the Alexa Bliss thing, just makes me feel sick all the time. Fulton then hits I like the spot where he refuses to stop, and he basically pulls his singlet down and makes it into a sling. And he's like, I will carry on fighting. That was quite cool.
But it was over from this point.
Yeah, so Fulton hits a one-arm bomb on Shamrock, but then Shamrock locks in like a double arm bar and Fulton tapped with his head. It was okay. That's the best I can say for that opener.
Definitely better than Moose Shamrock.
Oh, yes, but mainly because moves happened. We then go into the X Division match as Ace Austin over Trey Miguel. This didn't end with Reno Scum coming out and showing a video of Ace Austin banging Trey's mum. So what was the point in any of this?
Honest, it was the best match of the night.
I'm trying to think of. Well, actually, no, I disagree. Edwards and Elgin was better than this, but
that match didn't happen. It was just Eddie Edwards wrestling himself.
Hey, the best wrestlers in the world can wrestle a broom. Eddie Edwards managed to wrestle a flaming pile of garbage and get a decent match out of it, in all fairness.
Yeah.
I would say Trey showed good fire. He's I kept attacking Ace around the ring, and then it was just a lot of moves. 619 moonsault. Ace hits a space flying tiger drop.
I'm very surprised you enjoy it. This is extremely your shit.
It's because, you know why? I was generally, alongside Paige, doing an excellent job live tweeting last night and doing the results for Impact for us. I also read the Observer's results just to kind of get a differing opinion as well. And they said, this was a good high-flying match, but with the quality of high-flying stuff on show in wrestling today, this isn't as good as other stuff. Put this up against the likes of Hiromu and Will, or put this up even against, as a comparison, even not necessarily high flying but high impact offense, putting this up against something like Tyler Bate and Jordan Devlin. This is not on the same level. It's good, but it's not another level good.
Honest, both guys are pretty new as well, so aren't they?
Yeah, well, Trey's been around for a bit, and Ace Austin's been, I think, 2, 3, 4 years in the business. I could be completely wrong. I'm not sure. I thought Alex Zane was a rookie until he'd been wrestling for 11 years.
It's what the X Division is about. It was fine. I enjoyed it.
Oh no, I'm not saying it was bad. I'm saying that a lot of it was just moves because it's the X Division. That's what the X Division is. Austin works Trey's leg. It's the Bangarama for a near fall. Miguel fights back with a reverse suplex, a springing downward spiral, and then Austin wins clean with the fold. It was fine. But there had been a lot of storyline with Ace and Trey. I assumed the match would be more storyline based, but they kept the match quite clean, so it was just a bit of a weird thing.
I expected his mum to jump the rail and throw in the towel for him.
That would have been good. That would have been fine. I just honestly, I know it sounds dumb. I just read the thing of Don saying they're going more adult with the content of their show, and I wanted them to have the video of Trey. Trey's mum getting banged by Ace Austin.
Selfie.
Yeah, just up there, like WWE camera, but really, really appropriately. Ace then tries to chirp Trey's mum, and Trey batters him, and they're pulled away. So it looks like they can continue this feud between Trey and Ace, which is good. I'm happy with that. we then go to the Knockouts title match between Taya and ODB, Jordan Grace, where Taya wins. Just look at this match. This was meant to be Grace versus Taya and Grace winning the belt, but then ODB happened, so they've just kept the belt on Taya.
Yeah, it's like, why?
And ODB's not that good. Like, you can tell she's like towards the tail end of her career and not been wrestling at all because she's now found a viable business other than wrestling.
Yeah, and it's like, credit to Impact for giving her an income while she waits for a viable business to pick up again, because what happened was truly sad.
And then I would say fair play to also fantastic interviewing, but they gave all the the ticket sales in the New York tapings to her for that, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Also, credits to Taya Valkyrie for spinning that into a nickname of Lunch Lady.
Oh yeah, that was brilliant. Taya's been like an amazing heel, but the one thing with Taya, I don't know if you've caught this just from watching this show, maybe occasionally watching Impact. They're on the verge of the Asuka level with Taya, where it's like she's beaten everyone to the point where no one's going to touch her. Like, I can't.
She pinned ODB, didn't she?
I think, yeah, she pinned ODB, so I feel like they are now going to push forward and hopefully have Grace win the belt down the line. Maybe the next pay-per-view's in April, so it's not as if we've got to wait till the summer. So they could now build up to Grace beating Taya, because they seem to just whack her in there and prolong it because ODB got really over at the New York tapings. But because ODB hit a fallaway slam on Jordan Grace on the ramp and nearly just dropped Jordan Grace on her own face. It was.
I remember that.
They just worked over each other, and Grace hit the Grace driver, but then Taya snuck the win, as we all expected.
Yeah, it's just.
It's
like,
just,
you know, I feel like Nathan. I need a shower. Let's move on.
Speaking of needing a shower, Gabby Lauren went to interview RVD, but he's too busy pashing Katie Forbes. Trying to watch this next 10 minutes of this show on the train was a fucking struggle. With Katie Forbes twerking every 3 minutes on my phone.
There's only one thing I really want to say about Katie Forbes.
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
That ass is fake, right?
I have no idea.
Sure.
I don't know. I've not researched it.
No amount of squat. No.
I love that you started walking down that alleyway and decided to immediately reverse back.
I'm saying no. It's not real. No.
Yeah, she's. So yeah, she's too busy pashing with RVD, so Forbes interviews him and he says that he'll put his energy where it matters, but he's going to beat Brian Cage first, and then Darga walks past and says, "Oh look, it's a fan, do you want a photo?" Because what happens next is really, really strange, but now we know more than likely why. So Brian Cage and RVD go to a no contest. Brian Cage is distracted by RVD's girlfriend's girlfriend, we find out, and he's beat down by RVD. RVD works his shoulder, hits a Van Terminator on Cage, busts him open, and literally injures him out. Off to AEW with you, it looks like, Brian Cage.
GIF. Cody.gif, sorry.
Yeah, it's just like I know like Melissa Santos, his wife, has immediately gone, well, this is news to me that he's moving. It's very strange that these two had a heated combination, and out of nowhere RVD literally squashes him, not in a match, just batters him.
It's him a bit, I suppose.
Yeah, my favourite thing is RVD doing his moves on the outside, the cameraman getting too close, which was a theme of the night, cameraman getting way too close to the action, and then just shouting out, "You want to get fucking hit?" There's a lot of F-bombs on this show, primarily in the main event. So then Darga comes out and they brawl, so we get a match. I like RVD's new character, but why RVD is beating Darga in 2020, I have no idea. They've been pushing him as a big deal, and they've just had RVD roll through him.
Yeah.
This wasn't great. RVD won with a frog splash. He then watched Katie Forbes and his girlfriend's girlfriend just dancing under the ring like a big dirty old fecker.
He just sits there and watches them.
Yes, I fast forwarded at that point because
not as comfortable with the spotlight.
Oh, what, the girlfriend's girlfriend? Yeah, that was really awkward. She clearly was like, I'm dancing, but I don't really want to be doing this. It was, get someone who's a bit more outgoing maybe next time. Gabby Loren then went to look for Sami Callihan. Jake Crist answers and says that he's fine, so Sami is not fine. We then get to my favourite match of the show, which is Eddie Edwards over Michael Elgin. This was really, really good. They battered the crap out of each other. Really good, strong style match. They brawled, big forearm shots and kicks, hard hitting, really heated contest.
At some point, I was really worried that the flaming garbage debris would rush into the crowd. That's how hard they were hitting each other.
Yeah, I thought that there could have been some debris from the flaming dumpster fire that is Michael Elgin. So we get a big run on Joe on the floor from Eddie. Elgin hits a big splash mountain. Eddie then works the knees of Elgin. Elgin looks like an STF, but Eddie gets the ropes. Elgin argues with the ref. But his fire gets put out as he goes for a buckle bomb, but then Eddie rolls him up for a shock win. It was a good match. Really, really good match.
I've not seen that much of Eddie Edwards because I only really watch Impact when you tell me to. But from the little I've seen, is Eddie Edwards, firstly, great example of the Department of Redundancy department there with that name, mate. But is his finisher just a roll-up?
No, his finisher's Adam Cole's finisher.
No, but I've never seen him win.
Yeah, mainly because the only matches you ever see him in are in garbage brawls. But everyone, if newer fans of Impact don't realise that Eddie Edwards was one of the best technical wrestlers of the noughties.
They showed a flashback of him fighting Cody, and how did he beat Cody?
With a roll up.
Yes.
So. It's one of those things. It's just one of those things. It's one of those things. It was a good match. Rhino then cut a promo. I liked this, which was it just made me laugh. His promo was your spear's called the no jackhammer needed. Well, I've got to move, and it's called no fucks given. And I was like, oh, they are letting them say fuck now on pay-per-view. Cool. So there's another F-bomb for you.
Wonderful. Much like this match.
No DQ match. Moose over Rhino. Again, we talked about the match similar to this earlier. This was a lot better than it had any right to be, to be honest.
Honestly, it just seems that if you put Moose together with Ken Shamrock, you're gonna get trash. But apparently they're both adequate workers. Who knew?
So Moose was dressed like an Elon.
Which is an utterly dismissive thing to say about Ken Shamrock.
Yeah. One of the finest MMA fighters and wrestlers of the last few years. Last decades even. But I just Moose was dressed in elongated Randy Savage for reasons.
Because why not? He's the one icon from his childhood that hasn't been proved to be a huge bigot.
It's fair enough.
That's probably because before he could.
Moose hit the spear early on, and Rhino goes to the outside. We get chairs, a backdrop to the stage. Rhino hits a pop-up powerbomb for a table. Moose then gets his heat back with a trash can lid to some chairs. Moose then hits a falling elbow drop. Better than CM Punk's. Another second, but then a chair gets yeeted into his face. Some people in the crowd were chanting for Moose, and Rhino just flips them off, which was amusing. Rhino hits a suplex on some chairs for a near fall. Rhino went for a gore through a table, but the ref got pulled in front of Moose. Moose hits a low blow, spear for the win. This was a lot of fun.
I do have a thought. You summed it up. It was a lot of fun. I do have a thought. So you know how Moose's thing is no jackhammer needed with a spear, yeah?
Yeah.
World title needs to win it with a jackhammer.
That would be funny.
Yeah, he needs to hit a spear and then a jackhammer.
just to be a dick, yeah, it would work. I do think though,
not just to be a dick, to prove that he's not all he says he is.
I do think Moose needs to be the person to challenge for the world title next.
Yes.
I think it makes perfect sense.
Moose versus the current Impact World Champion would be...
God, yeah, I didn't think of that when I wrote this down. God, without context. God, yeah, don't have this match in Japan, Jesus.
Please have this match in Japan.
Genuinely, just proper. Just didn't think of that at the time.
100%. Who's the babyface, Matthew?
Wrestling is the babyface. We get the Impact Tag titles, which end up being the North over Willie Mack. What? Rich Swann really messed up his ankle at Bash of the Brewery too. He took a double stomp and he just let his ankle went from underneath him. Yeah. I will say they made it a handicap match, but they've been building this thing of Willie Mack being the weak link, and I thought this was going to lead into Willie Mack either turning or maybe walking out the match and realise the weak link. However, this match made Willie Mack look like a star.
Willie Mack is a star.
Well, it gave him a massive platform to show how much of a star he is. It really worked well. Really, really worked. The North worked over Mack to open, but Willie Mack came back. It's some big moves. The North went for like a double superplex where one's on one shoulders, but then Mack counters it and hits a Canadian Destroyer on Ethan Page off of Josh Alexander's shoulders.
He hit a Canadian Destroyer on the Canadians. I love this game.
It's just... One thing is, though, you missed the key bit. He hit a Canadian Destroyer on a Canadian off of a Canadian. Yo, dog, I heard you like Canadians. Mack hit the froggy, but then Page pulled the ref out. Willie Mack hit the stunner on Page, but then the North hit the torture rack into the spinebuster finisher for the win. The result was what we expected, but obviously the match had to change.
I guess you could say that Willie Mack can't handle this. He couldn't handle this. He couldn't handle this.
I see what you did there. Impact.
It's better than any other joke I could have run in this situation.
Out of the 14 jokes you probably had in your head, that was probably the safest one. Impact World Title. Tessa Blanchard over Sally.
All for now.
Over Sally Callahan. Oh well, I don't know where to start with this.
Just start.
No, Joe, I feel like you should start. By all means.
So this match started out at a very fast pace. It started out with Sami Callihan hitting... Yeah, it started with Sami Callihan driving a woman's head into the floor, which... But anyway, Tessa Blanchard kicks out, and then Tessa Blanchard hits... What's her finisher called?
Magnum.
Because I kept hearing it as the MAGA, and I was like, well, of course it's called the MAGA.
Right, let's go through this. The day before Hard to Kill. She put a tweet out saying that women need to support each other, and they did. My God, did they? All primarily to call Tessa Blanchard a massive bully.
Pardon?
No, so my point was that they all came together to call Tessa Blanchard a massive bully, and in some instance, a racist. But again, it's one of those things. We had this discussion before, and I feel like this is a better discussion to have with you on the pod compared to, I think, a few months ago when it was me and Mike discussing the Jim Cornette thing, where...
Yeah. This is the thing. It's one of the other reasons I want to start. Matty, if you employ someone else, can you ensure that they have 2 X chromosomes or more melanin? Because more people to ask would be nice.
No, it would be. It'd be lovely to ask more people. Please apply. So we haven't got to literally go, well, here's our racism correspondent, Joe. It would be lovely.
Me looking directly into the camera going, I wonder why I got this job before doing the racism analysis.
Pulling out the racism teleprompter like you're on Monday Night Football. You are the Gary Neville of racism.
I'm not the Gary Neville of racism.
But it's one of those things. And again, I could be way off base here, and tell me I am wrong, because I'm more than happy to be told I am incorrect.
Go on.
because a bunch of people, with the result, Tessa won, which we all knew was going to happen. Tessa's the first female major world heavyweight champion in wrestling, which is a coverall statement, but you know what I mean. Immediately, one of the first tweets that I see is going, "Oh, Impact are proud they've got a racist as a champion," and I was like,
"Oh, look, okay." My thing is,
yeah, go on.
Show must go on,
yeah,
and that happened. So everything, no matter what, that happened so close to, it happened so close to that show that what they're not going. This isn't WWE, and this is something that the Fed do a lot. And like it's like a lot of their detractors say this, and you know what? Generally, they're right. They'll change things because of outside factors. Nah, tell your story.
Yeah, no, you are
like two things that people relatively close to me have said. Number one, Nathan said, why are people surprised that their faves are booked differently in big promotions? And my response was, every writer knows that you mind the gap. You mind the gap. That's genre, that's audience, that's purpose. And I'm going to tie this into something you said, which is what you said. You are going to be very, very interested in the reaction that Tessa Blanchard would get when she came out.
Yeah.
Now, that Tessa Blanchard got when she came out.
She got a decent reaction. She got the normal reaction. Well, she didn't get not as big as she got previously, but then again, the crowd was pretty dead throughout the entire show. But she got a reaction that Tessa Blanchard has normally got. I was just intrigued because of the social media backlash it's got, and you don't, and sometimes things can change like that. Like we've seen it before. I was intrigued whether it would play into anything. It did not in the end, however.
Did not. Let me tell you why. It's because Impact know their audience, and Impact knows that right now they have an audience of diehards, and they have been telling a story for a year. There was no way they were going to change it.
I didn't think they were going to change it. Like,
especially not that close to the end of the show.
Yeah, I was intrigued whether they would. I didn't think they actually would. I was like, I wonder if they will. It's probably the best. Wonder if they will, rather than I thought they would. That's what I meant to say. I wondered if they will change it rather than I thought they would. My key thing is again people throwing around the R word over an incident, and that's the key thing. Like we had before. In hindsight, the Cornette stuff. There's been a whole bunch of them. So different story. This one's interesting is a horrible term, but you know what I mean. Of like,
it's was there.
Yeah,
breaking the story. Who is the wrestler in question?
What, the one?
Because yes.
What?
Tessa and...
It was Alison Kay brought up the fact that she had...
I know, but who is the victim?
No, I'm getting to that point. It was... She spat out and called... It's like La Roja something. I think she's a luchadora that works in Japan as well. I don't know who she is, actually, if I'm brutally honest. I can't remember the name. I saw the name on Twitter. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, what her name was. It's, if you want to see it, actually, people want to know, I'm pretty sure we've got quite a decent detailed account on the Wrestling News update on Saturday night. So if you want to check the dates back, you know what it was. The 11th of January, Wrestling News update. There's quite a detailed account on everything on there, courtesy of Matt Booker. I can't remember off the top of my head what the female's name in question is.
I'm tempted to say La Rosa, but
it's La Roja or La Rosa something. I know that for definite. However, it's one of those things of, in your opinion. And again, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm more than happy to be incorrect on this.
Yeah.
Would you say this is more of a case of someone being stupid and maybe a bit bigoted, or do you reckon it's fair that people have out and out gone, Tessa Blanchard is a racist because of what she said? I'm just so fascinated with your viewpoint on it.
wasn't there, so I can't say.
That's one of those things. That's one of the things that I've been always with stuff like this. When it comes up, is a lot of people are so quickly to throw stones at the situation, and you are more than right. You're more than your right to go. Tessa Blanchard is a fucking idiot if she's used that sort of language.
She's an idiot if she's used that language. She's a horrible person if she spat in somebody's face.
Yeah, like she's a piece of shit if she's done that.
If she used that language while spitting in somebody's face during some sort of disagreement,
it's difficult.
But I wasn't there.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I feel like a lot of people just go, well, she said this happened, therefore she is this, everyone pile on. And I'm not defending Tessa. What she did, if all accurate, is like she deserves the shit she's getting.
If everything happened exactly as everybody is saying and corroborating, then yeah, pile on her and call her a racist. Probably is.
Yeah. But it's one of those things of like, I always say, feel free to be like, that's not on, that's not acceptable, hold her to account, but let's not do the 100% pile on until we know whether it's accurate or not, because it's one of those things. However, just wanted to bring that up aside. The match itself, it was good. However, I will say, you watch the finish and you were waiting for this big feel-good moment, but you're watching it at home and it's just a little bit sour because of what happened 24 hours previously, which is a shame, and there's nothing they can do about it. However, history is history, even if it's slightly tainted, and this is a very big moment for wrestling in general, to have someone like Tessa Blanchard win a major world championship on a major televised wrestling company.
Yeah, and you know what? If you look at this main event was huge. We pushed it huge. We said we were going to discuss it in complete fairness. But if there's one thing that Impact Wrestling has shown us, and I think we should end on this, it is that bigotry in wrestling is hard to kill.
Oh God! Oh, that's so poetically beautiful. It is. Annoyingly, I have like 3 quick points I wanted to make about the match, which is upsetting. But I'll just quickly make now because that is a banging way to end. One, they kept doing the same spot over and over again, which was my head's up to your head and I'm going to flip you off to your face. They did it about 4 times. It was like, just do it once. You don't need to keep doing it over and over again. 2, these two just work really well together. Like it's amazing how well these guys work really well with each other. And 3, I really like the start to the match where they both hit their finishers early.
Yeah, that was good.
Really good. Really cool. But yeah, we're in a brave new world. Tessa's the world champion. I'm hoping this goes down to the line. I hope they do the unification and make the whole promotion in agenda. It makes sense in my opinion, and also it will literally, rather than Impact being around the MLWs, the NWAs, the Ring of Honors of this world, it will catapult Impact out and make them stand out on their own if they made the company fully intergender.
I mean, that match would in theory be Jordan versus Tessa, right?
It would be Taya versus Tessa at this point.
Oh, yeah,
to unify the belts.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought Jordan was going to win it, and honestly, I thought the next pay-per-view, Rebellion, would be the unification match between Jordan. Maybe Jordan wins the belts on
taping.
Yeah, on the next set of tapings, and then they lead up to Rebellion where they have the unification match, because I feel like it makes sense.
That photo set that somebody re-uploaded, like Tessa and Jordan did a photo set a while back, and it was just like. Yeah, I'm actually not going to find and read that caption. Let me not do that.
But yeah. Anyway, overall thoughts on this show, and what's your grade?
This was the best episode of Impact I've ever watched.
Oh yeah, it was an amazing episode of Impact. Shame it was a pay-per-view.
Didn't let anything, like, pacing is everything. Didn't let anything breathe. C+.
C. It was so bang average. Like the main event, good. North and Willie Mack was good for what it was. Elgin and Edward was the best match on the show by being pretty good. Moose and Rhino was also pretty good. RVD and Darga, RVD and Cage was just there. Taya, ODB and Grace would have been fine if ODB wasn't there. And the other two matches were just okay. So yeah,
this pay-per-view was fine.
Yeah. Is it like you said? If it was an Impact, it'd be the best Impact they've done in years. But it's not, unfortunately.
Yeah, like, what do I want to say? My blanks. Let's move on.
Boys, move on to the end. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at TWM Wrestle. If you want to get in touch with us, do it there. Subscribe to us on Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, Acast, YouTube, all that good stuff. Please get involved there as well. Make sure you subscribe to us because we have got an exclusive interview coming out next Monday. Not going to say any more than that. But please make sure you subscribe and keep an eye out on your podcast pipes for that one. We've got loads coming out. You'll be able to read a review of NXT UK TakeOver from Paige Brearley. Will be out just after this comes out, and then tomorrow from Bradley Cassidy we've got a review of Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill, so please go and check all of those out as well, amongst many other things from WWE, AEW, British Wrestling, Independent Wrestling, International Wrestling, all things covered across the whole week. Joe, social media.
That's Develop Podcast.
There we go. It was Develop Podcast. Thank you very much.
It's the developmental podcast, but their Twitter handle is at Develop Podcast.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what it was. We still gave him a plug because we love Liam, and obviously Dei works for us, so it does help. I am at Matty ID. Thank you for listening to us. We are TWM Wrestle. I will be back on Wednesday with the Indie Wrestling Show. Joe will be back tomorrow with Raw Talk with Tom, and we will both speak to you again very soon.